What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today I'm making an unscheduled video because I'm seeing something right now on my laptop that is absolutely unbelievable, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Also, my studio is currently being remodeled, so that's why I'm filming here in my living room. But I want to go over some numbers and some information that I'm seeing that is truly alarming, and I had to stop and make a video on it. So go ahead and bear with me. I know the acoustic's going to be a little weird because my living room is pretty big and there's no furniture in here and it's echoing, and my studio, like I said, is still being set up. But this is something I wanted to get out to you guys ASAP. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the reason I'm making this video is because I'm seeing some very alarming things that I haven't seen since the start of the pandemic. Now, as you guys know, I buy and sell cars every single week. We do about 100 to 200 every single month. And one of my favorite things to do is to do wholesale. We purchase these cars from Facebook, OfferUp, Craigslist. I have some buying centers that I work with, as well as buying cars at other auctions, cleaning them up, repairing them, and selling them to auctions to dealers. Now, usually we expect to make anywhere between a $300 to $800 profit. It's more of a volume game. But I picked up my laptop today and checked some numbers, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I see people paying as much for cars as what the highs were back during the pandemic. It really shocked me. I thought that maybe on one or two cars, this is something that I'll see, stuff that's popular, that's desirable. And some of the cars that I'm gonna tell you guys right now are gonna blow your mind. So usually dealers like to use this thing called MMR, which is wholesale, which is Kelly Wholesale Blue Book, something that we use to justify the price when we sell it to a bank. So most dealers will do Kelly Wholesale Blue Book, or MMR, times 135%, and that's what most finance companies will finance on these particular vehicles. Now, the first car I'm going to talk about is a 2003 Chevy Avalanche. Now, I had one that was pretty clean. It had about 180,000 miles, 4x4 Z71. It was lifted, had the looks. I think we were all in about $3,500. We figured we'd sell it for about $4,500, make about $1,000. After sales fees, probably about $800, our target. As of yesterday, this thing sold at Manheim here in Las Vegas for $7,468. So that's not quite double, but very, very close. Now I have another one, which is a 2018 Ford Focus with 30,000 miles. MMR says it's around $8,100. So we're expecting to sell it for maybe $88,000, maybe $9,000. It sold for $12,500. We have another car that is this one's hilarious. 1991 Mazda Miata. Now this one was pretty clean. It was red, it was the 5-speed, it had the cloth top, not the hard top. We were all in about $2,800. Now this car had 200,000 miles, but it was very, very clean. So we figured we'd sell it for maybe $3,500, and if somebody really wanted it, maybe $4,000. It sold for $6,800 at Odessa here in Las Vegas, which is absolutely crazy. And we have some other stuff. I have a 2020 Rec Camry that I purchased off of another auction site for about $8,000, has about 60,000 miles. We've spent about, I think, $300 shipping it here from California. All we did is we cleaned it up, put the fenders back on it, put it back there at IAA here in Las Vegas, and it just sold for $13,500. So almost what MMR would be on a clean title, regular Toyota Camry instead of a salvaged wrecked one. So the numbers that we're seeing are just absolutely ridiculous. Now, I have other cars I can go into, more of the nicer, expensive cars. Like we have a 2020 Hyundai Elantra. I mean, it got good numbers, but the numbers not as much skewed as the ones I went over. Some of these cheaper affordable cars are just absolutely insane. Now, we always talk about prices getting hiked up during the tax season because we know that there's going to be demand, there's people with down payments, so dealers traditionally pay 5 to 10% more. But with these numbers that I'm seeing here, some of these dealers are paying 50% more on a car than they normally would. It doesn't make any sense, especially when I talk to these banks, and all these dealers are complaining that they're not getting enough money from the banks to cover what they're into the cars. Either they get not enough money for the loan, so if they're into the car at 20 grand and they're trying to get 25, the bank's only give them 20, They're pretty much have to get as much down payment from the customer to get their profit. Also, the buy fees are getting very, very high. That is the fee that the bank charges to purchase the loan from the dealer. And traditionally during tax time, a lot of the people that get the biggest returns are people that are either, credit challenged, have big families, stuff like that. So they're not tier one customers. So you don't get those very low, $0 to maybe $1,000 buy payments. You're usually getting buy fees or purchase fees of upwards of $1,500, $2,000. I've heard some people talking about $3,000 on a sub 600 score. And this is where it eats up all your profits. So now you have dealers paying way too much for a car. The bank's not giving you enough money, so they're lowering the amount they're gonna finance, plus the actual bank fee of what they're charging to buy the deal, all spells doom and gloom. Now, all these things basically paint a picture for me saying, hey, maybe I shouldn't buy cars that are too overpriced because I can't liquidate them. But for some reason, people are still overpaying at the auction, and not by just a little. I talked to one of my friends here, Tony. Shout out to Tony if you're watching. He told me that he sold a 2007 Chevy Silverado short bed. Now these are very, very popular with the Latino community. If it's a short bed and it's a V8, you'll get all the money. So he bought it for about 8,000 bucks on the street. He thought he would get about 9 grand for wholesale. It sold for $18,000 at Manheim this week. And so he's just going out trying to buy every single truck that he can possibly buy and run it back through the auction. Now, I make a living literally off of buying and selling a bunch of cars from Facebook, Craigslist, OfferUp, Buy Here, Pay Here, dealerships, repos, trade-ins, and selling them back to dealers. Now, this is kind of hilarious if you think about it. I'm so confident that dealers are so dumb and overpaying for cars. My business depends on them being so gullible that they overpay over a significant dollar amount. Now, normally I expect to make about 800, like I said, to 1,000 bucks at the most for some of these cars because we just want to do the volume model. We don't want to do gross. We just want to get them out there. But when I see numbers like this, it's literally making me so excited that I sold my cars, which I got a good chunk of money for. I got these new cars that we got coming out, and I got over 100 cars sitting in backlog that we're going to start pushing out to the auctions here because the tax season hasn't even really started to swing yet. There's a lot of dealers that are complaining that they're not seeing the checks, they're not seeing the down payments, but yet they're still buying like it's tax season. Like, I gotta get into the auction, I gotta buy more cars, I gotta fill my lot. And so now that the supply is starting to fill back up, dealers are taking advantage of this and buying all the cars they can, but all they're doing is raising the prices back up, and now they're getting buried back into their new inventory. Now, it was bad because most dealers were buried in their old inventory. Now, fast forward to tax season, they got rid of some of their old inventory, and now they're overpaying for new ones. It's like they don't learn. They don't understand what's going on in the current economy. Now, my advice for you, if you're a dealer and you're watching this, do not overpay. I don't care how big you think tax season's gonna be or how much money you're gonna make. If I were you, I would stay lean, stay mean, get a lot of your overpriced, aged inventory off your flooring lines, take them to the auction. Take them to the auction now. There's a lot of dumb dealers with new credit lines that are out there buying everything. And so this next week, I'm gonna go to the auction. I'm gonna watch and see who's buying these. And I wanna see who these people are because a lot of my dealer friends that I know won't buy this stuff, but there's still people fighting over it. So it lets me think that there's a lot of new dealers that just started because a lot of the old dealers are getting either closed down because their lines are maxed out, they can't sell anything, or they wind up going bankrupt. So I think there's a lot of new people coming back into the market now that the market's kind of changing a little bit, and it's giving people a second chance at buying cars overpriced. And they don't realize this, and this is what people are crying about. The more these dealers do this, the more it makes everything else overpriced and not affordable for anybody else. So it's actually hurting dealers, it's actually hurting themselves, and it's actually hurting consumers because at the end of the day, if a customer can only qualify for a $500, $600, $700 car payment and you can't lower the sales price of that car by $2,000, $3,000 to meet the customer's payment, you were screwed. And then remember, customers are not gonna be getting those big tax returns like we talked about. A lot of people are going to be getting a lot less than what they're actually saying. I saw in the news, I think it was Bloomberg, that announced that tax returns are going to be about 10 to 30% less than what people were initially expecting to get on their returns. So you need to really look at these things before you go out and shopping. And especially with these dealers, stop overpaying for cars. I hear the people crying, why are they so overpriced? It's because some of you guys are so stupid, you still buy. if there's a car on the lot and 10 people walk away and say, no, it's too overpriced, and one dum-dum shows up and overpays for it, that resets the dealer's mind and says, oh, you know what? I found one idiot out of the 10. I'll find another idiot. And then they'll just keep overpricing stuff and prices won't come down. So if you want to blame somebody for overprices, stupid dealers and stupid consumers. That's all I could say. Anyways, I would love to hear your comments about what you think is going on in your market. And tell me, dealers, are you seeing the same thing in your market? Because I auction off cars all across the United States, and this has been in like multiple states, and Texas is even worse. I've actually gotten some really crazy numbers for trucks down in Texas, but let me know what's currently going on in your market, what you're seeing. So my new website is coming out here very shortly, and we're gonna have new updated classes on there. And one of the very first classes that's gonna be available is Car Flipping 101. So if you wanna get in the market or business of buying and selling cars, this is probably the most comprehensive course that shows you everything from A to Z. And the cool thing is, it's only 99 bucks. So I think it's over 2 hours of me basically going on, showing you how to buy cars, where to do it, build your system, how to look for cars, how to set up vendors, the whole shebang from A to Z. I think it is definitely worth the money, and I think you guys will learn a lot from it. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much again for watching. We'll see you guys shortly.